Welcome back to Ralph's Sorta True Stories. You know, in the recent segments we've been talking about blonde women, and I think just to even the scales a little bit, we need to talk about blonde men. First, a little historical fact. Hockey. Hockey is a very manly sport. But I want you to know that it was in 1874 that men first invented the cup. Now, the cup is what you put over your testicles to keep them from getting injured. In 1974, 100 years later, they invented the helmet, which kind of helps you understand the priorities that men put on their testicles versus their brains. As I mentioned a while back, I at one time was a junior executive working in an office. The fellow next to me was blonde, and he had the office next door. And back in those days, they had those little slots in the door if you had your door closed, and they could just slide the mail through there in case you were having a private meeting or something. They also had some windows that were about halfway up, and so I was able to watch this guy, and the mail came, and I watched him for 2 hours, going through all kinds of contortions, sticking his leg up, turning, trying to keep his back straight, and I thought he was doing some kind of yoga or some damn thing. Finally, he comes out of his office, and I say to him, Randy, what the hell was that all about the last 2 hours doing all those contortions or whatever it was you were doing in your office? He says, well, they put something through my slot, and it's a big envelope, and look at it. And I looked at it, and I said, well, what's the problem? He says, well, you see right there, it said, do not bend. It took him a long time to pick that up off the floor. Now, this Randy and I went to a cocktail party once, along with a bunch of the other office workers, and Randy's wife happened to be there, and she shared this story about him with me. She said that he got in the shower, wanted to shampoo his hair, and he hollered out at her, honey, what shampoo do I use? And she said, use the one right there on the shelf that says for dry hair. She says, well, I was going to do that, but I've already wet my hair. I do remember one other time I was telling him that as it happens, I had just watched a National Geographic show, and I was amazed at some of the things that it showed. So I was talking to him, and I said, do you know, Randy, that moose in the right time of year have sex 10 to 15 times a day? And he says, damn it, and I just joined the Elks. Now, I'm not sure this really happened, but wife comes into the kitchen one day, and there's Randy sitting, and he's putting black kiwi shoe polish on his penis. And she says, Randy, now I know you're blonde, but remember, I was talking to you about daylight savings time, and it was time to turn the clocks back. So, again, I think Randy got a little confused. I tried most of the time not to go out in public with Randy, but one time we went to this gun and ammo store, and he was doing his shopping. It was very busy. The clerks were harried, but he went up to pay for his stuff, and I'm standing behind him. The next thing I know, he has taken off all of his clothes. The clerk screams. They call the cops, and it turned out that it was another Randy, being a blonde man, getting confused. The clerk says, I was talking about your credit card when I said strip down facing me. I just wish Randy wore underwear. Earlier we did some stories about cowboys. I thought I'd tell you a little story about a blonde cowboy. This blonde cowboy came walking into town one day, and the marshal stopped him because he was walking in, he was wearing nothing but his boots. And the marshal said, Cowboy, what are you doing coming into town like that? And the cowboy said, well, you know, back at the ranch we got that new female foreman. He said, yeah, I know that. She called me over to the foreman's cabin. She took me into the bedroom, and she told me to take off everything except my boots, which I did. She got naked, and she laid on the bed, and she said, all right, go to town, cowboy. So here I am. Now, there's one blonde man I knew was actually quite overweight, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor put him on this diet. And with this diet, the doctor told him, he says, now, I want you to eat 2 days normal, and then skip one, and then eat 2 days normally, and then skip one, and go online and come back in 2 weeks. The guy came back in 2 weeks, and he'd lost 50 pounds. And the doctor says, that is amazing. That has really never, ever happened before. He said, you did like I said. He said, yes, I did what I said. And he said that third day was brutal, the day that you were supposed to skip one. He says, yeah, I'd eat 2 and skip 1. He says, the only problem with that is I got so tired. And of course, it built up my leg muscles a whole lot skipping that whole 24 hours. Well, there you go. Another blonde man not understanding. So I don't really know what it is. I don't think it's my blonde hair that does it, though. But I want to thank you for watching Ralph's Sorta True Stories. I think you can count on most all those being true. And I want you to come back soon. And down there at the bottom, we got that thumbs up. Click on that. Click on that subscribe and hit that bell over there if you haven't already done that before. And we'll notify you as soon as we post another video. And again, thanks a lot. Appreciate you watching Ralph's Sorta True Stories.